Karen,
Yes.
very important question for you.
Ooh, got a very important answer.
Are you sure?
No.
That's a good answer.
I'll do my best.
I much prefer your honesty, for sure. So, okay, here we go. How can someone go from engineer at MIT to Harvard MBA to spiritual Jedi master with a PhD in psychology?
I don't know.
You don't?
I can't even think of a clever answer to that.
Oh,
I'm floored.
I will not be disappointed. Well, you meditate your way through quantum mechanics.
Perfect sense.
Well, but not only do you meditate your way through quantum mechanics, we also breathe through IPOs and chakra align your way into the C-suite. Makes total sense.
Easy for you to say.
I know. Blah, blah, blah. Well, this week's guest is basically what happens when Einstein goes on a silent retreat and comes back, quoting Rumi. He's coached billion-dollar CEOs, founded nonprofits that awaken masculinity and love, and wrote the literal book on spiritually intelligent leadership. Again, easy for me to say. But Karen, don't worry. He's way more than theory. He's got tools, practices, and probably even an interdimensional calendar system for scheduling spiritual breakthroughs somewhere up his sleeve there. So stay tuned, enlightenment may come closer than your next to-do list on the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Hey there, I'm Will.
I'm Karen.
Welcome back to an eye-opening episode of the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Today's guest is none other than Dr. Yosi Amram, a man who's basically the spiritual love child of the Dalai Lama and Steve Jobs.
Ooh.
If Steve had traded turtlenecks for prayer beads.
And
Yo-
had a uterus. So it was a love child. Dalai Lama, Steve Jobs.
Splitting hairs, Karen. Anyway, Yosi has not only launched companies into billion-dollar IPOs, but now he's launching souls into self-actualization. With over 20 years steeped in mystical Judaism, Buddhism, Kundalini yoga, and the diamond approach. Ooh, the diamond approach.
I like that.
Yosi doesn't just talk about spiritual intelligence, he embodies it. His book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, is a bestseller and an award winner. That's basically what would happen if a TED Talk and a monk had a very wise baby. He's here to show us that inner peace can be practical, spirituality can be scientific, and yes, your Google Calendar can make room for enlightenment. So how does someone cultivate spiritual intelligence in everyday life without quitting their job or moving to a monastery? We're about to find out as we welcome to the show Yosi Amram to the show. Welcome, Yosi. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Will and Karen. Wow, after that introduction, I'm bound to disappoint you and your audience. So
Well, that is not a good start there, Yosi.
I know. I already disappointed you. See, I proved myself. I just proved myself right.
If nothing else, you are a man of your word. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
I can predict the future, as you could see. I have psychic abilities. You forgot to mention that.
Oh, I think we're about to prove you wrong here.
Okay.
Let's
Which will prove me right then.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. I can already tell. Okay. The most important question, right? Spiritual intelligence. How do you define that? And how's that different from like mindfulness, for example?
Or emotional intelligence, you might
Or
add.
emotional intelligence.
Yeah, which
Exactly.
most people are familiar with. So let's start there with what we know. So emotional intelligence is the ability to draw on emotional resources and information to help manage emotions in ourselves and others. So by analogy, spiritual intelligence is the ability to draw on spiritual resources and information and embody timeless wisdom in the modern daily life. So what are these spiritual qualities and resources, you might say? These are the virtues that for millennia, thousands of years across all the world's traditions have been spoken about, like purpose, service, gratitude, trust, beauty, compassion, forgiveness, humility, presence, and so on. So these qualities came through in my interviews with 71 teachers across all the world's traditions. And regardless of their cosmology or theology, whether they believed Moses went up to the mountain and saw God face to face, or Jesus was the Messiah, or Muhammad was the final prophet, or there's Shiva Shakti, or Father Sky, Mother Earth, whatever their theology and cosmology, the one thing they could agree on is living a life of purpose, service, gratitude, trust, humility is the good life. And so this has been known for humanity for thousands of years. What is exciting now is we have modern research, not just my own, but the whole field of positive psychology. People like Marty Seligman, you may have heard of, developed this thing called character strength inventory and values in action. And they define 24 qualities. Lo and behold, over half of the qualities of what came through my research, 22 qualities of spiritual intelligence, map one-to-one with qualities of positive psychology. So you have convergence through the ancient, timeless traditions, the modern science, not just my own, but, worldwide research across different cultures and traditions that show the benefit of spiritual intelligence in terms of greater satisfaction, quality of life, deeper meaning, more resilience, individual productivity, group productivity, and then this field of positive psychology and leadership development. So I know I'm saying a lot. I'll stop. I asked you to interrupt me when I go off, but you didn't
I know,
interrupt me.
but here's the thing, though, Yosi. You are already been proven wrong. You are not disappointing. In fact, you are going way beyond what I expected you to answer. That's why I let you go on and on, so that you could see that you're not disappointing. You're over delivering. That's
Okay.
the basis.
I'm
here.
honored. I'm honored. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
No.
So, quick question, a little aside, if you may. So, you went and did a silent meditation or a silent retreat meditation that transformed you. Will did one, and he came back and just kind of wanted to talk a lot. Like, where's the disconnect here?
I think that's a shot. I think she took a shot at me just now. Don't you
I was
think that?
listening to the introduction, like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, so the introduction was as if he had gone on a silent retreat.
I thought you said you did.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to me.
Well, no, what if both of you are right?
Oh,
It's as if, and I did. So,
Hey.
what you imagine might be true too. I mean, that's the whole thing of visualization. You can manifest if you imagine it, it becomes true. So that's another thing, right?
there you go. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to exponentially increase your spiritual intelligence. How does someone go about doing that? Or is there a way to do it? Is there a spiritual IQ test you take? Like you're this smart spiritually or you're this dumb spiritually?
Well, I do offer a free assessment of your spiritual intelligence, and
Get out.
yeah, you can go to my site and so on. We could drop that in the show notes if you care.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
the point actually is not to give you an absolute score to others, because that just engages your ego. And it's like, let me ask you, which of the two of you has higher spiritual intelligence? I got in trouble. Okay, I should. I got all three of us in trouble. No,
You're all about that Pandora's box, aren't you?
I did. I just like to stir the pot.
But
But
here's the question. Who has the greater spiritual intelligence and who thinks they have a greater spiritual intelligence?
That is the question, Karen. That is indeed the question.
yeah. No, so actually what we do in the assessment is not tell you, we normalize it relative to yourself. So we tell you these qualities, you're really high in purpose and service, and someone else is really high in joy and gratitude or whatever. So it's like identifying your relative strength. It's like your question is, if I wanted to get instantly physically fit, what would I do? Well, you can't. You got to go to the gym, and you have so many muscle groups in your body. Whether
I
it's
thought you were about. I thought you were actually going to answer that question. I was all excited.
Yeah, well, I am. I'm working up to it.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
So the
Told you he was gonna
first
interrupt
the
me.
first thing you do is you set an intention. Like anything in life, you got to set an intention. So if you set an intention and say, I want to grow my spiritual intelligence, that's your North Star. So right now, if you're listening, the two of you or anybody listening, just see what it's like to connect with your intention and say, I wish to develop greater spiritual intelligence. So tell me, what do you experience right now as you say that, or as you think that, as you set that intention in yourself? What happens to your physiology, your body, your sense of aliveness, your chest, your breathing, your spine, what have you?
I get the sense that I got a long way to go.
Well, you make the point of if you want to get in shape, you have to go to the gym, you have to work out. And we know that. It's like, I know how to get in shape. Do it, but I know how to do it. But I have no idea how to get in spiritual shape. Like what exercises is it just meditation? I mean, there's got to be more than that, right?
Well, the sage, you do a lot of sage curls, hands. Sorry. He couldn't resist.
Okay. Well, no, the point about setting an intention, though, is then you, like with your gym, with your physical thing, is then you say, okay, I have these muscle groups. Do I work on my abs? Do I work on my triceps? Do I work on this? So as I said, we have 22 qualities of spiritual intelligence. So there are some essential ones that I would recommend people start with, which would be gratitude or purpose. So gratitude, for example, is a capacity that, really fundamentally alters our mood. And we know that people that live with the attitude of gratitude are happier, are healthier, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So one place to begin is a gratitude practice. I wake up in the morning, I begin with gratitude. I go to sleep. At the end of the day, I go with gratitude. I go through my day, and now I look for moments that I tonight going to think about for gratitude, and I express it. So like right now, the two of you could look at each other and think about, what am I grateful for here in my partner in crime? And maybe, there we go. There we go.
For my little beard.
Yeah. Look at that sweet smile. I noticed how it affected you when, Karen reached out and affectionately touched your face. So, when we express gratitude, we expand our heart's capacity, and it feels good for those receiving it, and it's good for us. So it's not like I'm spending $1 out of the $100 I have. The more I express gratitude, the more gratitude I have in my heart. So it's a perpetual motion machine that creates a positive feedback. So you build the habit around gratitude. Then you pick another quality, let's say purpose. What is my purpose? What is my calling? So, there's the Japanese arch of ikigai, the purpose of being. And you think about what are my unique gifts, talents, and superpowers that life has granted me?
Well,
what are you? Yeah.
But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's go back to gratitude for a second.
Yeah.
Because
okay, I'm grateful for you interrupting me and following up on my request.
Gratitude, we all know.
Yeah,
Gratitude
we all
is a
know.
wonderful first step.
Yeah.
However, sometimes people find it really difficult to find things that they can be truly grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you recommend that someone actually, if it's difficult for someone to think about and nothing good happened to you today, how can you still practice gratitude if like you didn't win the lottery that day?
Well, okay, that's a good question. We don't need to win the lottery. I mean, the very fact that we are alive and breathing, I can enjoy my ice cream, my burrito, my whatever. I have running water at home. I woke up in bed in safety. So there are the basic things that I think we can usually find something to be grateful for.
So I don't know if this is, I'm going to admit this, I don't know if this is a bad thing.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know if this is cheating as
Okay.
far as the gratitude comes. But sometimes it's hard when it feels like everything's gone wrong. And, yes, you have a car to drive in, but it's hot or the AC doesn't work or whatever. So I try to think, well, hey, look, and it's like you shouldn't compare. I know you shouldn't compare yourself to people in a lesser situation, but at least that kind of helps me be thankful for the fact that my legs work or something. Is that wrong to
I
do it
think
that
that's
way?
great. I mean, I'm grateful that I could take a breath right now. Let's see what happens if I just let myself feel the fact that I can breathe. And what's it like? Is there pleasure that I can derive just from breathing? Now, the interesting thing is one of my favorite things, speaking about sometimes we have really tough days and what have you, and it's hard to find gratitude. One of my favorite things I do at Thanksgiving when we're supposed to go into gratitude. Everybody's like, oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, which is wonderful. And I like to up the game and say, okay, let's share something that happened in your life that seemed like a real difficult, painful disaster. And how did it turn out? So people speak about, oh, I lost my job. I went through a divorce, God forbid, or whatever it is. But, when I lost that job, I thought it was terrible. I was under financial pressure, etc. But then I really discovered something much better, a new calling. I changed my career. So, sometimes it's hard to see we're in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
for example, one of my practices, I'm rushing, I'm driving, and then I'm trying to get someplace on time, and lo and behold, the light turns red just when I get there. Okay, so I don't know if that ever happened to you or just happens to me as an unlucky kind of guy. But you guys are all blessed, so that doesn't happen to you.
I mean, no, we are blessed, but that does happen to us. Just
Okay,
saying.
well, that's the point. That's the point. It is a blessing. So when that happens, I work on reframing. Okay, how can I be grateful for this red light? Okay, you've been rushing, Yosi. You're all pumped up. Your nervous system is amped up. This red light, what is it inviting you? Oh, let's say, take a look at the sky. It's blue sky, or there's this tree over here, or it's time for me to take a breath and calm my nervous system. So something that seemed like, not something to be grateful for, I can find gratitude. And that's an advanced practice. So it may not be available for everybody. But I suggest that when we think about our history and our past, we often can find things that, seem difficult, challenging. And then in hindsight, we discover that they actually worked out for the best. And that actually helps us cultivate this related quality of spiritual intelligence with trust, which is so foundational, having that trust in ourselves and in life, that we are okay, that things will be okay. And
Right.
they will be okay at the end. And if it isn't okay, then it's not the end.
Right.
That's
Let
a
the-
line from a movie,
Right. I was going to that the universe is actually working for us and not doing things to us. Right?
Yeah.
So then let's transition then into purpose, which I'm really interested in because sometimes you may think that you know your purpose, but then all of a sudden the rug's pulled out from under you. Or some people don't even have an idea what their purpose actually is, Karen. So how does someone find their purpose?
Okay.
I'm looking.
So let's break it down. I like the fact that you said that you think you know your purpose and then the rug gets pulled out from under you. So, which to me highlights the fact that, our purpose in different phases of life may change. I mean, when I'm in kindergarten, my purpose is to play and break as many toys as I can so I can
So
learn.
full disclosure, that's still my purpose. Just
Okay.
so we're clear. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I get it. But then, I graduate to college, and my purpose is, to get drunk and get laid or whatever it is.
Oh, wait, no, that's my purpose.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, but by whom?
My mom watches this.
Oh,
Hi, Mom.
shit. So you can erase me. No. But my point is that, and then, in the Hindu tradition, they talk about these life stages and cycles. So then we are in our 20s and 30s, and we're working on our career and building family, etc. And we move to our 40s and 50s, and then our purpose often becomes a lot more spiritual growth, etc. Not that we can't start earlier. So I think it's okay to think of our life as evolutionarily, and as Jung said, what the way we live the morning is not the way we want to live the afternoon of our lives. The day's energy and the sun in the morning is different than in the afternoon, and then it calls for different activities. So I'm just trying to highlight that what felt like purposeful at one stage in life, for me, was to build a company as an entrepreneur, to build an organization based on a certain culture. It was my passion. It was my calling. I was fully in. And then at some point, I was like, okay, I've done being an entrepreneur. And I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. I'm ready to do. And then I discovered this other thing, which is I want to research spiritual intelligence. I want to help people do healing, etc. So I've gone through different phases in life, and what seemed like my purpose has evolved and changed. But in every stage, so going back to the how do we find it, we think about what are unique gifts and talents and powers that. So for you, it's like being funny and being curious. And oh, you don't think that's funny? Okay.
Well, I'll give you curious, but I don't think I'm funny. I think Karen's a funny one.
Karen is the funny one. Okay,
Yeah.
there. The two of you are funny as a couple. So
It was
Funny
fun.
looking?
I was just gonna say that. She steals my jokes all the time.
yeah. Okay.
No, but that's you make such a good point about people's purpose evolving. So our daughter is now going to high school, and I, for the most part, stayed home after I've had her to do the mom thing, take care of her, always be there if she needed me. So now she doesn't really need me like that anymore, and I feel totally lost. And so I'm struggling with trying to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do now.
You're a skeptic metaphysician.
Yeah. So there's some grief perhaps going on
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Which is like, I had this role, I had this purpose, and now it's gone. I'm feeling a loss. Well, that loss is an invitation to, discover a new thing. Like that door is closing and then a new door is opening and you don't know what it is yet. And that gives you a chance to practice trust and be in curiosity until you discover what your purpose might be. And then so when we think about what are my unique talents, so I'm curious, I am a good listener, or whatever it is. So how can I apply that? Because when we apply the gifts that life has given us, then we're actualizing our potential, then we feel fulfilled. Naturally, when we're applying our gifts and we feel fulfilled, we're going to be good at it, which further gives us a sense of joy and satisfaction and mastery. And then when we use that to contribute to others, then our life has meaning. And through that contribution to others, we feel connected. So we become embedded into the web of life. And one of the major issues that we're facing as a society is this loneliness epidemic and disconnection. So when we know our gifts and we can use them and we actualize them and use them to contribute to others, then we are remembering ourselves. We become members in the web of life. And that gives us a sense of belonging. Just like every cell in the human body is embedded into an organ. It has its unique individual identity, right? It has a cell membrane. It has to keep itself safe. It has its own immune system, etc. But it knows that I am part of the thyroid, or I'm part of the liver, and I am participating in this function. And my well-being, it depends not only on my individual cell, but how my organ is functioning and how this whole organism is functioning. So when we understand our purpose and how we contribute to the greater whole, it gives us a sense of belonging. And that further fuels our sense of well-being. Now, what is interesting, just staying on this analogy of the human cell, is that all the human cells in your body, in my body, come out of the same DNA, come out of the same stem cell. So somehow the intelligence of the overall organism is helping it differentiate and say, no, you coming off the same DNA stem cells says, oh, no, you're going to be a cell in the retina of the eye. No, you're going to be a neuron. No, you're going to be a piece of hair on, but they're all important. They're all important. And we're all made in the image and likeness of the divine, if I were to go there. So we're coming off some common thing, but we differentiate it. So,
and the trick is to find what cell you are, because there's a lot of talk about spiritual awakenings, and everyone's going, this is the right path. This is it. This is the way to go. But if we're all a different cell, like I'm a hair cell and you're
eye cell.
Right. I'm the eye
I was going to choose hair for you.
has
by
a
the way.
different purpose because of my wonderful hairline, right? We have a different, the eye has a different purpose than the hair. Such is a spiritual path then as well, right? I would assume.
yeah, so there is no one path for everyone. And thank God that it makes life more interesting. You go into the forest and there are many life forms, and they all are part of the ecology. And so they all feed each other, and the leaf that decomposes, forms the foundation for the next sprout. And
Yeah,
so
that-
we don't know how it's all, but we are differentiated. I'm glad you guys figured out who's the hair and who's the heart. And so
Yeah, but I don't want anyone to eat me. I don't know. I don't want to go in the forest. But you've done a lot of research into a lot of different spiritual practices. Or can you share one or two studies or insights that show how these practices actually change us, whether mentally or spiritually or even physically?
well, yeah, one of my favorite practices is practice from Buddhism that is called Tonglen, which is giving and receiving. It has to do with compassion. So, one of the domains I work on, you mentioned my coaching CEOs and multi-billion-dollar companies, etc. I do enjoy doing that. But the other thing I love to do is do couples counseling. And I'm not trying to do any couples counseling here with you guys.
Aha! The truth comes out now.
You need help.
but oftentimes, couples get stuck into something and whatever, and they feel the pain for themselves. And one of the ways I like to shift the energy is to do this practice of Tonglen, where you take the suffering of others, you inhale it in, and then you exhale out kindness and compassion. And, I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but you might. I think we all
I'm constantly breathing in care and suffering. She makes sure of it.
yeah, and you exhale out loving kindness,
Yes.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so when people do that, our heart's capacity expands, and it just feels good. I mean, I know it's paradoxical to think, I have enough of my own suffering. Why would anybody want to take on someone else's suffering to add to my own? Well, this is the amazing alchemy of our heart's capacity, is to take in suffering and then turn it into gold, turn it into compassion, turn it into love. So that's a practice I adopted from Buddhism, and that I do all the time. I teach to my clients, whether it's in business, where I work routinely with CEOs, and they go through ups and downs in the economic cycle, and they have to implement a very painful layoff for people they hired, etc. And then they go into this mindset: why is this happening to me, and what have you? And so one of the things is always good is to remember, okay, well, can you think of other people going through the same challenge, whatever it might be, whether it's a job loss, being laid off, going through a divorce, going through a medical diagnosis? No, there are hundreds, or if not millions, of people going through the same problem. So imagine those people in front of you, along with you, and inhale their suffering, and then exhale out compassion to them. And then all of a sudden, you feel it does two things. It's like, I belong. I'm not alone in this suffering. And I use my heart's capacity to take suffering and transform it into the gold of loving kindness and compassion.
So it's not exactly like misery loves company, but kinda.
Kinda. I mean,
Kinda,
yeah,
right?
we want to know that I'm not the only screwed up guy who's got this problem. So it normalizes it. It's good to know that the problem I'm having, I'm not that unique and special. I mean, we have enough things that feed our narcissism and all the ways we're unique and special, but at least my suffering is not that unique and special. I know some people feed their narcissism. I am the most miserable person that ever lived. And,
Oh, he knows me.
some people are like, I'm the smartest person that ever lived. But both
does
are
know me.
really forms of narcissism that makes us uniquely special. And
Do you feel seen?
I,
You feel seen, don't you?
I feel like I'm getting shot at from all directions.
So I have a question. I don't mean to derail you, but you have done all of this research. You've had all these interviews. You've learned so much. What was one of the lessons or maybe surprises that you learned, something that you didn't expect to learn throughout this research?
Well, I mentioned something that was surprising is to discover that the virtues and the qualities that these people across all the traditions cultivate was unique. I did not expect that. You got all these religious wars and which path is better, and I won't get into the politics of all of this, which is going on in the world right now. But what was really heartening to me is to find our shared humanity across all these traditions, and that these people that are wise, that have been practicing and embodying and nominated by their peers, really, when it comes down to it, are speaking of cultivating the same human virtues. And I think, to me, that was super exciting and hopeful, that if we could focus on, like right now, there's so much polarization in this country and politically, etc. But when you think about it, underneath it all, we all want peace and love in our lives. We might, think about the best way to get there is a little different, and so on. So to me, that was really exciting to find the commonality, the shared humanity across these different wisdom traditions.
Well, if someone listening or watching this today, if you wanted them to walk away with one thing about spiritual intelligence, what would you want to make sure that person gets?
Well, I think I would say one or two things. One is, human cognitive intelligence, IQ, has been tremendous in advancing humanity. It's landed us on the moon. We split the atom. We deciphered the genome. Now we have AI, which is smarter than most of us, at least me. I don't know about you guys.
Ditto.
You guys look maybe smarter than AI, but so we
Did you
have
pay
all
him?
of that. And then we have emotional intelligence. We have discovered, up until 1990, when the first academic paper on emotional intelligence came out, we used to think that emotion and reason are in opposition. I'd say to you, do you know people in your life that are emotional? And you might think of some people, but that wouldn't necessarily be a compliment. They're prone for drama and whatever. But if I say to you, do you have people in your life that are emotionally intelligent? I'm like, oh, they're applying emotion in an intelligent way. So emotion and someone could be emotional and reasonable. It doesn't mean like they're out of control. Now, we have a similar dichotomy between spiritual and practical. We think that spiritual is like some kind of woo-woo, and it's esoteric and, whatever beliefs you might have. So the point is, though, that spiritual intelligence kind of bridges that gap between the spiritual and the practical. And spiritual intelligence is not the same as spiritual belief, whether you believe in God or reincarnation or whatever, time travel that you believe in. Those are spiritual beliefs. You can also have spiritual experiences. I could be meditating and my ego is dissolved, or I'm walking in the forest and I'm one with nature and whatever. Those are important spiritual experiences. But spiritual intelligence is the ability to embody these qualities and wisdom, timeless wisdom in daily life. Now, so that's one key thing I want people to get, is that spiritual intelligence is very practical. And the research shows that people with greater spiritual intelligence are more effective leaders. They produce better financial results. They're happier. They're more fulfilled. They're more resilient. They have better quality relationships. They're more productive individually and as groups, etc. And I think it's the antidote that we need right now, because despite cognitive intelligence and emotional intelligence, the world looks like a mess, you know? I mean, you have soaring anxiety, depression rates, loneliness, substance abuse, addiction, suicide rates, wars, political polarization. And I think the missing ingredients, the third leg on the stool of cognitive intelligence, emotional intelligence, is the spiritual intelligence. And I think it's particularly important right now in the age of AI, where, you know, some of the things that kind of differentiated us are going to get automated, and, you know, AI is going to do for us. So what's going to keep us as humans feeling like we have worth and value on this planet is going to be our spiritual intelligence.
Oh, I was going to say lots of beer.
What's that?
I was going to say lots of beer, but, you know,
Lots of beer.
Spiritual intelligence.
Or spirits, yeah. I mean, that's why it's called spirits. You know, when you don't have spiritual intelligence,
I get it.
when you don't have spiritual intelligence, you need spirits.
Oh, so it's a knowledge of what kind of, like, bourbon differentiated between whiskey differentiated. It's intelligence, spirit intelligence. I get it now.
You
Thank
get
you,
it?
Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. Ooh, she's looking at me
I
hard.
got nothing. I got nothing.
All right. So we from time to time we have some guests that we asked to ask some really deep curveball questions. Would you
Okay.
be open to doing some kind of weird
Kooky?
curveball questions?
Well,
Yeah, kooky.
curveball or kooky? Let me just get it straight, because
So
I mean,
I've
I
got
might
two.
be okay with one, but I don't know if it's a combo of both.
Okay, well, you can choose, right? We can do.
He's very serious.
Me too. I've got a list of kooky curveballs
Kooky
and I
curveball.
have
and the non-kooky
and a list of deep curveballs. So which one would you like, kooky or deep?
I'm going to trust
do have a
I'm going to
list.
practice spiritual intelligence. I'm going to trust your judgment for the betterment of the greater whole, for your audience, for you guys, and for me.
Good God, he's giving me a lot of credit.
There you go.
That's a kooky curveball.
There's pointed one.
Okay. You're given, Karen chose this one, okay? You're given one mystical power for 24 hours. It's telepathy, time bending, instant inner peace for anyone you touch. Which one do you choose and why?
Out of those three, or any?
Any spiritual power?
Any spiritual, yes.
Well, my spiritual power would be to bring in world peace right now.
I knew you were going to say that.
Really?
Like world peace.
That's
Popped in my
your
head.
spiritual power, telepathy.
Me.
You read his mind.
I totally is like world peace.
Well, that's a great answer, actually. I wish I had thought of it. But all right, so I'm going to go to a deep curveball, and I'm really curious what your answer is going to be.
Okay.
What do you now know that you think your soul was trying to tell you your entire life, but you only just now understood?
Everything is an expression of the one divine reality that we're a part of, including you and me and you listening. Now, if we could take that in, I think that would be pretty amazing.
Very amazing, actually. I like to deep curveballs.
I do too.
Okay, if everything you've ever taught about spiritual intelligence suddenly vanished, but you could whisper one sentence into the heart of every human, what would it be?
One sentence into the heart of every human. You are love, loving itself.
See, these are good questions.
It's very similar.
Oh, what's your
My
sentence?
sentence was give and receive love whenever possible. And as much as possible.
Oh, that's a good sentence, too.
I'm receiving right now.
All right, so this prompted a question. a lot of people believe that in order to be spiritually intelligent or to be enlightened, you have to go through suffering. Is that a true statement? Is someone who never suffers in their life, could they actually be spiritually intelligent?
I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, I haven't met such. I mean, the way I understand life is that pain and suffering is one of our greatest teachers. And without some suffering and understanding, it's hard to develop the compassion and empathy that we need for ourselves and others. So it's like, whoever designed the human body gave us pain. Now, would you want to live a life without pain? I mean, I think pain is painful. If you believe it or not, pain is painful. If you haven't,
I found that to be true.
you
actually.
found that out to be true, yeah. But people who don't experience pain, are pretty dangerous to themselves and others. So,
Right. Yeah, I saw that movie.
but if I were to blame God for a moment, and maybe, I mean, people ask this question: if God was all powerful, all knowing, why, and all loving, why is it that we have so much suffering, etc.? There are many philosophical questions, but God, in their infinite wisdom, somehow gave us suffering and pain, and who am I to second guess God? I mean.
Yeah. There was a play on Broadway or off Broadway when I was living in New York. Comes to mind. It was they had a commercial all the time. The show was called "Your Arms Too Short to Box with God." That just reminded me of that. I have to know when I box with God because their arms are too short. Okay.
This is fun. Are we having fun yet?
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
I'm just picturing the boxing match. Oof.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah. All right. Is there such a thing as too much spiritual growth?
I don't think so. There's spiritual bypassing.
Oh.
No, I wouldn't want to be doing spiritual bypassing, but real spiritual growth, I don't think there's too much.
Can you define that spiritual bypassing?
Well, I mean, it's not a term I use. I invented. I think John Wellwood coined it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but a lot of people are throwing around that term, spiritual bypassing.
Well, spiritual bypassing is actually not spiritual. It's like using spiritual concepts to avoid dealing with reality. So, yeah. So I think that's not very spiritual intelligent because, if I'm going through a pain or a loss and just somehow being Pollyannish about it, then I'm not really feeling, I'm not going to learn, I'm not going to derive the nutrition that is embedded into that difficulty. So we don't want to Pollyannish, put lipstick on a pig, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
I love how you said that. You don't get the nutrition
Yeah.
behind that act or that incident, because you're right. It's this person that you're seeing right now on the camera, that you're listening to on the microphone, would not exist were it not for a severe amount of pain that not only did I go through, but I put a lot of people through. So we all have grown from these experiences, and you're right. It's really important when you're going through something to feel it, to allow yourself to feel it and process it, because it's when we like bury it deep down inside of us. Oh, it never happened. Oh no, I'm fine. It reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The knight, his arm gets cut off and goes, "I'll fight you with the one arm," and he gets the other arm. "Well, I'll kick you to death," and he gets both legs cut off, and I'll bite you. "Come here, I'll bite you to death," right? The kind of thing. No, ow, my arm is gone, right? Process it, and then maybe you have a chance at fighting the guy again. But yeah, it's important to process it, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's easy to dismiss.
Well, and I think also processing it makes the pain, the lesson affect not just you, but everyone around you, because then you also will understand more maybe what they're going through and learn that compassion and the empathy for the next person, and they'll learn it too, and it kind of will spread that way.
Right. People are talking now that spirituality, personal spirituality, actually can affect society as a whole. Do you agree with that? And if so, what does that mean exactly? Because I have no idea what I just said.
Well, I do know that there's scientific research that shows that in cities where there's a critical mass of people that meditate, that crime rates go down. So, and we do know that people who live near large bodies of water or bodies of water also derive some kind of energetic benefit from it, and controlling for everything, crime rates and go down and well-being goes up. So yeah, we have, believe it or not, they tell us that we are all connected. We're all, vibrations of light and frequency, and how those frequencies, get propagated through that medium. But we do know that, for example, right now, the two of you, I'm betting, are sitting within 6 feet of each other. And science tells us that our heart produces an electromagnetic field that affects those that are in our vicinity. So your hearts right now are in some kind of interaction or feedback loop that affects each other. So, yeah, I see the sweetness, I see the love between the two of you, and the radiance. So that's beautiful. So it is real. We also know that we have this thing called mirror neurons, and we also don't know how that works. But when two people are watching each other, it's even monkeys. One monkey sees another monkey eating a banana, and the brain regions of banana eating are lighting up in this other monkey.
I
Now,
didn't realize there was regional brain for banana.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I
Not
mean,
everyone
do you
knew
like
that.
bananas? I don't know for sure. I can't vouch for it, but I suspect it works for kiwi and strawberries too.
oh, cool. There's lots
So,
of areas of the brain I didn't
yeah.
know about.
System in general.
So yeah, that's pretty fruity.
Yep.
But we skipped something that you said that I was curious about, and I don't know if you want to go into it, but you spoke about the pain you've experienced and how it made you who you are, and I just kind of, I was wondering, like, what is that? Would you be willing to say a few words about that?
Yeah. Long-time listeners know all about it. They've talked about it on the show a lot.
Okay.
I went through an existential crisis during COVID. Right as we were shutting down, I was forced to look at myself in the mirror and realize I was not that cool guy I thought I was. I was very judgmental. I was very angry. I was not a good guy. I was under the impression that I was my entire life, and then all of a sudden the house of cards came tumbling down, and I realized, holy crap, I've ruined everything. I almost lost everything, and if I hadn't gone through that crisis and come out on the other side of it, I do believe I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. So crisis was an opportunity. It was a painful thing, but you came out stronger. In Chinese character, the word for crisis and opportunity are the symbols, the same. So crisis and opportunity are.
Wow.
I love that, because the more we talk to people on the show, the more we learn. We go on classes and we start really diving into this stuff. It really is that statement we said earlier about the universe always working in our favor, not doing things to us. It is truly astounding when you raise your perspective enough to understand that this is true, that this is a thing. That car that pulls up in front of you and slams through a stop and makes you late for work might have just saved you from a 16-car pileup somewhere on the highway, right? So you just don't know. So I love that, and I think I'm going to see if I can get that somehow, because I have these sticky notes all over the place of little things that help me to remind myself of my spirituality. Things like, okay, we've got more. Yes.
Stuck on the paper clips.
What does it say?
It says your attachments are the source of all your problems. right? So, and it's funny, we got
I'm glad you attached it to the
Yeah.
to
To
the
the attachers.
and it is attached right now. It's
Two paper clips that attach.
yeah, it's non-detachable now, because it's my way of expressing my attachments onto that thing, so that I no longer
you
have
can
it.
let go love them. Yeah, I love it.
But we got a message from one of our listeners who talked to us about that. She always assumed that attachments in that saying meant like physical things, but no, it's your attachment to being right. It's your attachment to winning. It's your attachment to all these things emotionally that you think you have to be. When in essence, if you just chill
Yeah.
and you really pay attention to what's important, you find those things really aren't that big a deal.
But
Yeah.
it can be really hard to strip them away because then there you are and make it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that's what we have to get to. We have to allow ourselves to face ourselves naked in the mirror and say, ooh,
I'd be okay with it.
right, and be okay with it.
And what about our attachment to letting go of all our attachments? Is that an attachment?
Man, now
That's
we're going down a rabbit
That's
hole.
the biggest one. Actually, that's the biggest one, right? Because it's what makes us who we are, right? Our attachments are what we feel is our identity.
Yeah, so
And
just chill out. I think your best part was like, okay, chill out, you know?
chill out. That's gonna be the title of the show. We
We were talking about that recently about how, you think these things that have happened and, they've affected your life and how you've grown up and developed and it's what happened from my childhood and I've just got to get rid of it and you focus on getting rid of it. Or you can look at it like a friend. Be like, okay, you protected me when I needed you. Don't really need you that much anymore.
right.
So, good.
See, I see it more like a rung on the ladder. Like you recognize it, you put it in place, and you step on it to move yourself forward, to propel yourself upwards. Right? It becomes a part of your ladder.
See, my way's more welcoming.
Your ways what?
More welcoming.
More open. Okay.
I'm like, thank you for protecting me.
Yes. Well, you can thank it when you're putting it on down and step on it. And you
Your
walk
foot's on it. It's not feeling appreciated.
Thank you. Just, you kick it in the face and
Are
you
your
walk out.
shoes clean?
Right? No, not particularly.
Yes, it sounds like one of you is higher up on the ladder.
I wonder which one that is. The one that actually has a ladder.
I'm stirring trouble here. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are. Yes,
I'm
you are.
sorry.
And we love you for it. So that was probably.
You love me for
great.
it. Oh my God.
All right. One last question before we call it a day, because I'm really curious what your answer is going to be to this one. In your estimation, what's the most inconvenient truth about personal growth that people don't like to hear but absolutely need to?
The inconvenient truth about personal growth. Well, it's an endless journey, and you can never get to the top of the mountain. There's no time.
That's,
That's a good answer. That's so true.
That's such a great
It's
answer,
so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you're
That's
never
like-
you're never gonna get there, but you might as well enjoy the journey.
the view.
that's the trick, right? It's the journey, not the destination.
You gotta look at
Yeah.
the scenery that you're passing.
Yeah, enjoy your life. Be in the moment and appreciate what you have. Now we're going back to gratitude, right?
Yeah,
Enjoy
but you are
everything
climbing
you
up
have.
this mountain. You're not just, so you're never going to get to the peak, but, you're going to enjoy the climbing.
Right. Right. I love that. That's a perfect answer. All right. So if someone wants to take this spiritual assessment that you have, how can someone do that? Where does someone go?
Well, the website is called intelligency.com. It's the word that's a play on the word intelligence, but instead of CE at the end, it's SI. But because people are not going to remember that, I recommend you go to another website, which might be easier to remember the spelling of. It's called awakeningsi.org. It's a nonprofit that I run, and from there you can click and it says free assessments. Click here, we'll take you to that other website. So awakeningsi.org.
Awesome.
You can go there, and from there you'll find all the other stuff I do, and yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to add a direct link to that in our show notes. So if you are interested in taking that assessment, all you do is go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to Yosi's episode, and you'll see the link directly laid in there. And if someone want to get your book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, which we didn't even talk about, in fact, let's take a moment and tell us what is your book so beautifully titled, have to do with spiritual intelligence?
Well, everything.
I'm just setting him up. I'm just setting him up.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
You are
question.
so gracious. You are so gracious. So yeah, it looks at each of these qualities, the spiritual intelligence, and how it applies in leadership and how it helps us get inspired, because leadership and inspiration first and foremost is an inside job. You can't lead or inspire anybody else until when we lead and inspire ourselves. So it looks at each of these qualities of spiritual intelligence. We talked about some of them, like gratitude, purpose, service, humility, etc. And there's a chapter that has a case study with a client, a CEO client that I had, or a problem they had, a crisis in their life, and how working and cultivating that quality in our sessions was really the solution to their problem. So it's very practical. It's not just theoretical. There are case studies. And for each quality, there are exercises that people do that I guide people so that you can work on cultivating it. So again, you don't just read the theory of spiritual intelligence. You got to go to the gym or the forest or wherever you do your workout. And so you got to develop these muscle groups. So the book is built around these exercises and case studies. So it brings it down to earth. We
Cool.
bring
Can we make
heaven
that-
down to earth.
Okay.
Can we make that mandatory reading for every government official everywhere in this country?
Yeah, nerd down, Robert.
And
And I was going to ask, is the sequel for those of us that don't like to work out?
the sequel, yeah. I mean, you just
Sorry.
you
No,
just
just kidding.
visualize. You
It's
can
like, this
just
is what it looks like
visualize
from
doing
afar.
the exercises. There's research that visualizing, doing your golf stroke or shooting hoops in basketball improves your game. So I'm not making this shit up. I mean, it's true.
So I'm going to visualize lifting 1,500 pounds, and that way I'll lose all this weight. All right. And if someone wants to work with you, that they can reach you through that website as well. Is that right?
Yeah, there's my contact information, etc. Yeah, I'm particularly these days interested in and keen on working with couples who want to develop conscious, spiritually intelligent relationships and to ignite and grow and deepen their passionate, sacred love. So, yeah, if anybody is interested in that, I'm also doing a study right now with couples, and so there's a assessment that people could take as couples, and they get a report about strength in their relationship and issues, and it's looking at spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and attachment style. So
What if you don't want to know?
Yeah, that might be scary.
But it might be tough to find clients these days, right? And not a lot of guys are kind of walking down the spiritual intelligence path just yet, right? The more and more are waking up. Yeah, no, definitely more and more are waking up. But
is it particularly guys you think are hard, or?
I mean, isn't it? Usually guys are like not really spiritually into it, right?
I know. You and I might be the exceptions. Well,
Yeah, yes, we are. We're the exceptional.
we're the exception. And we're so humble too, right? I mean,
Yes.
I know we're the ice core. I'm one of the most humble people I know.
Peeking back behind his ego.
But no, I mean, fortunately, I have more clients than I usually need, so it hasn't. And actually, most of my clients, believe it or not, are men. But there's hope for mankind, and there's the Mankind Project, So it's the kind of men we need, which are mankind. More kind men, kind men, but that are still in our power and our strength. So we're not just it's not like this toxic masculinity and whatever, which is why I one of my nonprofits was True Masculinity, and I did a whole conference on gender, engendering love, which was a play on gender. So we need to understand how these energies of the masculine and feminine play in all of us, and whether we're identify as male or female or non-binary or whatever, but these energies are the source of life, and they come together physically and spiritually. It brings our wholeness and brings life. So anyway, I know we were kind of joking around, getting off topic, but it is about inner wholeness, which is one of the qualities of spiritual intelligence, is the ability to go beyond polarities. So we can embrace and embody the feminine and masculine in all of us, whether we're men or women. We can go beyond paradox, beyond either or thinking to a both and. And I think that's important. So we could be compassionate, we could be fierce. We need to know when to be fierce and when to be compassionate, when to be kind. And it's not kind to be kind all the time without being fierce.
Right. No, yes, and you have to live in authenticity. Yosi, you are a beautiful soul. It's such a wonderful conversation to have had with you. We really appreciate you coming on and
So much fun.
so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks for playing along with us. We know we sometimes push some buttons, but we're grateful that you played along with us. Really,
I hope I didn't push your buttons and
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No, we
All
love
right.
we love these types of conversations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, if you are interested in working with Yosi or getting the assessments or reaching out and getting his book, all you do is go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to his episode page, you'll see the links directly laid in there. So it's easy for you to access all of the above. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you both. You guys are a delight, and it's so fun to play along with you.
Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome back to the show that you hit play on, the Skeptic Metaphysicians. That was really bad.
That was bad.
Let's do that again. Because they know they hit play. I don't
They
have to tell
know
them
they're
that.
already playing if they're
Okay.
listening.
Wow, it's really hot here, isn't it? Or is it just me sitting
It's
next to
the
you?
massive light that you put in front of us today.
Oh, we look good though. Only. We need every little bit of help we can get.